Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to our this week's edition of our weekly magazine program Guest Podium on SALAAM TV. In this week's episode, Alhaja Bilkisu Amope Savage is our guest. Alhaja, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Appreciate your time and thank you for giving us your time. We know it's been extremely difficult, to tie you down. We know that you are a very busy person. I'm being concerned and being surprised how you will be able to combine this enormous role together and also being a mother. So what is the secret? I want you to meet, let's meet you and introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As introduced, I am Alhaja Bilkisu Amope Savage. I am a civil servant. I work full-time.
Boys,
yes, I work in the community. I'm a member of NASFAT and I work with FOMWAC, Federation of Muslim Women Association in the UK, and I work with various organizations. How do I combine the time? With the glory of Almighty Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the strength. I always have that at the back of my mind. And alhamdulillah, I have a supportive husband and family. I'm blessed, I'm privileged to have my husband that supports me. So that gives me, and I balance my time, my home balance.
You are a magistrate and you work with Home Office as well. How are you able to combine the enormous task that has to do with the Home Office, then coming to the magistrate as magistrate, series of cases, you must have seen a lot.
I'm blessed. I have worked continuously over the years for the civil service, and my job, yes, as a manager, my job is a big task. I have a team to manage. And I'm also blessed. I have been a magistrate since 2008. I go to local magistrate court in South London at least minimum once a month. So that in itself is a big responsibility. Yes, I've seen quite a number of adult criminal cases over the years that has enlightened me and has given me concern. Part of what I do is to use my knowledge from what you see to create awareness in the community that people should be careful of criminality. That's my preamble in terms of what I do in terms of community work. How do I balance it again? It's again one of the things you have to go through as a magistrate. Is actually one of our competencies. Time management is one of our competencies. If you want to be a magistrate, you have to be able to balance your time. You have to have the management and organizational skills, because like some of my colleagues, I work full time, I have a family, and I have other priorities. But you have to have the skills and understanding to be able to manage all those and balance them, because each require a bit of your time at different time. And I always try to impart that information to the community. I do a number of presentations on being a magistrate, and that's one of the things I impart, because I would like to see some of our community, some of our young viewers, especially from the Muslim community, to come forward to be magistrates. Time management, organization management is a key factor.
This enormous tax, it has never affected the home front.
How can we live together? How can we reduce this problem? How can we get rid of this problem and work together as husbands? We're partners to each other. As Allah said in the Quran, we complement each other. We're mates to each other, and we complement each other. And even the Bible, we shouldn't be competing.
You have to have that in place.
Happy home make a conducive wife, a conducive children. If you have a happy home, I'm not able to do this if I haven't got a happy home, to be honest. And my priority is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to myself, to my family, to my children, before I'm able to do anything outside the home. And I do have the priority of the responsibility, should I say, to the community in a way. I do as a mother and as a magistrate, but it's making sure my home front is happy, because there's no point. I have children that, you know, that are not obedient, that are not mindful of the law, and I'm running out, you know, doing something. So that is part of what I do, you know. As a mother, you have to be mindful of your first responsibility, really. Yes.
The aspect of which is very, very important. We look at the issue of crisis that is happening in many homes now. There is this report that rate of divorce in the United Kingdom have become enormous. And I do believe through organizations of, that you've been invited to settle some issues of both men and women. What do you think is the real cause of the conflict? Because looking at our setup, I mean, compare it to what is happening here in the United Kingdom is quite different.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the cause?
It saddens me, without a doubt, the rate of divorce, conflict in our community over the years, not just within the Muslim, but in the Christian community as well, has increased.
Both in the older age and youth as well.
And yes, there's no doubt I have been privileged to be called to marriages going on, the stress, conflicts. There are a number of issues, immigration being one, global impact of the economy, accommodation is one.
But I think fundamentally, one of the things I probably would say, and I'm going
my figures on it, is the fact that I don't know whether it's living in England or in the United Kingdom that's affected our behavior. I think some of our behavior, or some people's behavior, have changed living in the UK. Some people believe, or they've left our culture behind, and like the Yoruba proverb says, it doesn't goes well. We tend to forget that we have
Nigerian heritage, we are Yoruba or Igbo,
and we have our culture within that community, and there are some etiquettes we have to adhere to, whether we like it or not. I've always been proud. I wasn't born here. I came here when I was 17. It's relevant to the conversation because when I came here, I didn't have my mother's, I didn't have my mother, I didn't have my father. I came to school here and I've settled here. But the traditions and the culture that was impacted on me.
my children have been brought up in that, even though they were born in England.
And I sincerely hope they will carry on the tradition and culture. Why is it relevant? It is relevant to our community setting because we mustn't forget
our heritage
heritage.
that way. Yoruba, Nigerian, whatever you call yourself.
Whether you live in England or whether you're born in England, you came from somewhere, you came from some people, you know, some parents, and they have some culture. And I would hate to hesitate to say that in some aspects of conflict, that seems to be the issue, where people forget
They forget the culture.
they don't want to
and that creates conflicts. I mentioned immigration, the issue of not having paid.
Unfortunately, has contributed. Housing, the changes in the rules, unfortunately, what we need to look for is
To live together.
Yes. To each other, and we complement each other. And even the Bible, we shouldn't be competing against each other. And unless we step back and reflect on that and try to understand,
Against each
work
other.
together,
And unless
we step back and reflect on that and try to understand, work together, not compete, and respect, you know, and because I think that's part of it. The other issue is, which is relevant, is, and again this goes to both the Christian and the Muslim religion. there's a growing number of 2 or 3 parties in marriage. You know, whether you call it polygamous marriage or but multiple partners. I will call it multiple partners, where both in the Christianity and Muslim marriages, and some women are quite resentful of that. I'll put that there. They don't know how to deal with it, like our mothers did. Going back to what you said, our mothers, you know, they understand the culture. If you're in Muslim marriage, the Quran allows multiple partners. So our mothers, you know, they work within that system. The younger ones are not receptive to that. They're not accepting it. And a lot of these, whether it's because they're doing it because there was no paper, they wrote another woman, it's creating a lot of conflict within the home. And for me, we need to go back, reflect on our culture, reflect on how we can respect each other, work together, and, you know, because it's what we leave behind, our children will see. That is our legacy. You see on Facebook year after year, you know, people cussing each other, especially the women trying to say things that is so vulgar. And believe you me, it's very vulgar. And I do worry about that, because in years to come, children will see that. What examples are we leaving for our children? So what caused marriage breakdown, conflict? It's a number of factors, like I mentioned.
Okay, now,
what do we need to do about it?
That many men, a lot of men have been, I mean, they are skeptical when it comes to marriage, for them to go into marriage. Then I want to look at this aspect as well, that which is very, 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 very important. The issue of this, this gender and equality, is it not part of it that maybe this is the reason why some of the women are seeing themselves above their husband, or they find it difficult to work as a partner?
That is totally relevant. I did mention about our culture. Now, there is a belief that when you live in England, the woman has more rights, or has most rights, most right than men. And because England gives freedom, some women, and I'm not going to say it's majority, some women feels they can do what they want. And this is where our culture, that's why I mentioned our culture in the past. And they forget the heritage, their culture. There is an element of that, the gender equality. Now, gender equality in the United States is to protect both sides, not one more than the other. But we tend to forget that. Yes, I have a right, I'm protected in law as a woman. It does not mean I do not respect my husband. You know, it doesn't mean I should not respect my husband. It doesn't mean that, you know, I cut aside my husband's rights or my responsibility towards my home. That does not mean that. And I think that's part of the fundamental issue. God bless the Queen. Yes, the Queen is the head of the but she's most respected because she's a married woman. Absolutely. And I think people forget that. She is most respected because she has a husband that's been with her for over 65 years. Because she's been enthroned for over 65 years, and they were married 2-3 years before that. But she's most respected all over because of that. Not because she's just the Queen of England, but she has a stable and loving relationship and a family. And I think we forget that. So the reason why it's relevant is the fact that people tend to think, oh, this country has the Queen, has the head of it, and they think they can do whatever. No. The gender equality legislation protects both sides, not one more than the other. And you mustn't forget that, you know, no matter what it is, you cannot just assume you're the head of the family just because you live in England. That's not it. The law protects us. I fit any legislation. I'm Nigerian, I'm Muslim, I'm a woman, and I happen to work in sensitive organization. But at the end of the day, I'm just as equal to my man, to the men I work with, not more than them. So our woman needs to understand this, that, you know, because they live in England and they have protected rights, should not mean they should not respect their husband or forget the needs of their husband. Or because they have more money, or they have the papers, they shouldn't forget that. I totally, passionately, honestly believe that that is some of the issues we need to address. it worries me that people, you know, when you see some of the comment people make, oh, to hell with this, I don't need a man. What happens to your children? How do you want to bring children up? Because the children will see that and eliminate that. Oh, my husband said we don't need a man, and you know, have multiple partners. We should be careful about that. As a woman, I think we should need to respect ourselves. Yes, you can have multiples. I don't want you to feel if your husband is deceased or if your husband has left you, you cannot explain. No, well, I don't want you to stay in an abusive relationship, both partners. But we have to be mindful of engineering the fact that because you're a woman, you think you can do whatever you want. I really think we need to think about that as a woman. That for me is very dangerous.
Often, many people mention ideal woman. What is your own perspective to ideal woman? What are the characteristics?
Oh, it's very broad. An ideal woman is a homemaker, first and foremost, for me. Because I'm a passionate homemaker, I believe passionate about the home. We all have different aspirations in life. I've always emulated my mother, my parents, and they're so rest in peace. And because you go out to work and you come home, your home has to be peaceful. That is for me. And those who know me will know me that, you know, I'm forever in the kitchen cooking. My boys will tell me, Mommy, cook the recipe, which is apple. So I'm a homemaker and I love it because that's the way my mother brought me up. My ideal woman will be a loving, caring woman and respectable, not just to the husband but to the family, embracing the family ethos of bringing unity, teamwork, and community aspects. When I say community, within the family there's community because they're extended family. A woman cannot live in isolation. The idea that me and my husband, that people think we can do in England, does not work. It's not me anyway. So an ideal woman is a homemaker, is a hardworking, respectable, loving person, is a manager. Is a manager in all aspects. Somebody that will multitask without her husband thinking. Her husband will just know she'll sort it out. Her husband will be happy to come home to her, you know. Yes, you can. Not all of us can be a cook, a cleaner. I know that some of us do not enjoy that. But you still need to know how to build your home, how to build it, how to maintain it, how to sustain it. You still need to, whether you're young, old, or later in life, because that relationship you build over the years is what's going to sustain the marriage. Not by your surname that your father was the Lord of England, or by coming from a particular state, you know, or because you've got doctorate degree, or you know. So it's not really because I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a magistrate, you think that's your ideal woman. It is what that person brings to that relationship and what they can make of that relationship. You know, and this is quite relevant because of the children we're having today. We want them to embrace our culture. We want them to marry and be happy. But what are we impacting on them? Because this is why the rate of breakup relationship is quite important for us to address those issues. Because what do you want our children to do? What examples are we giving to our children? And in recent years, I've been to weddings that is United Nations of Africa, of, you know, there's a lot of intermarriage, and that in itself brings conflict. Because I know some people, oh, my children is not marrying a Christian, my children is not, you know, that we've gone past that a little bit. You know, there's, you know, but our children are now going beyond Africa. They're going to China. They're going to not just Europe, Asia. You know, it used to be just Ghana. It used to be the west part of Africa. They're now going to East, Central. I see a lot of mixed marriages. Globally. And that in itself will create conflict. And you know, in 2-3 years time, we'll probably tell us, oh, why all this? Same issue. In the 60s, people have the different issue of, oh, you marry a white person. We've gone past that.
Now, Alhaja, let's try to look at the time of our parents. Let's go back to the 50s and 60s. Our parents, if you can go back to memory lane, what do you think what is the secret that sustained their marriage over the years? is it the men that manage it properly? Is it the women? Compare the two, like what is happening now, because some men believe that women are not being submissive anymore, like how it used to be.
In all honesty, and it's not just my own parents over the years, it was the woman's patience and submissiveness. And there's an issue about being submissive, whether you lose your own identity. Islam preaches us to be submissive. Islam preaches to respect. That's always been the fundamental of relationship, whether you're Christian, Muslim, anyway. There's no hidden there. My parents over the years, our mothers, were very patient. They were respectful of their husband. Whether they have money, name, it doesn't matter. It was the home. And that's why I can relate to that. The issue now is submissiveness. And I think, if we're being honest, the issue about what is submissiveness, what does Islam teach about submissiveness? And people have to interpret that. And a lot of, I'm not saying a lot, some women have interpreted that. They think, oh, you know, submissiveness does not mean you're not a person. It doesn't mean you're giving everything away. Submissiveness comes across the board. Being respectful of your husband, your family, everything, yourself. That's my understanding. So, and I think part of the issue we face today, there's an element of submissiveness about it. Because people feel, why should I have to respect my husband? That's my own simple interpretation of it. Why do I have to respect my husband? And this and that and that. He has to do this, he has to do, because we're in England. And that's why I think the context of it is different from in Nigeria. It's happening more in Nigeria now, because I know that, but mostly in England, because people think in England there are more laws, we have more rights, they can do what they want. But we need to pause and let our children understand being submissive is not negative, it's not wrong. It's partnership, respect, and loving each other. But there are certain things that a woman can never do. I hate not to be in a loving, equal relationship with my husband.
Okay.
You know, because I've never known it otherwise. I've always, you know, I hate to be, you know, say I'm going to bring up my children alone. I just wouldn't know what to do.
Alhaja, I remember some Muslim women organization.
Yeah.
Among these organizations, is there any program, like I do believe yearly there are some lectures, is there any program like maybe weekly or perhaps something that's going to be continuous? Is that kind of a program being put in place to talk to women, even the younger ones who are not yet married? Because only what I believe now is that maybe the emphasis is on their profession. How are they going to become medical doctor, lawyers, and other professionals? Is there any way that you think that maybe your organizations could come up with a program whereby it's going to be maybe like a group, like you have some kind of a seminar group where you put people into group, then you talk to them one-on-one? Is there any program your organization is planning?
There are programs. The Federation of Muslim Nigerian Women, former UK, have an annual program of marriage conference every year in October. We have Women Congress every March because we celebrate International Women. I am part of Form 1 UK. I am the first Deputy Assistant Secretary. And it's something because, again, because of my passion in the youth, women affairs and children, I am party to it. Part of what we try to do is have an annual program. And we, you know, yes, there's been an emphasis on career, but now we focus more on marriage because the issue of marriage breakdown has been recognized as a big issue in our community. And this year will be our 4th year marriage conference, which I have been party to. And it's something, you know, I try to, and most of us try to publicize and raise awareness that we need to talk about it. Talking about it will help. We hope people can listen and learn from it. We have various lecturers. We have Professor Badarin as lecturers in the past. that, you know, about the essence of marriage in our community, the essence of relationship in our community, so that our children can learn that marriage is a good thing, and yes, maybe sometimes there will be conflict, but how do we deal with it? That is the essence of why we have marriage conference, to talk about ourselves, to learn from ourselves, and to recognize that there might be separation or divorce, but how do we move from that?
So Form 1 does that. Other organizations do it as well.
Nasrullah Fati, which I'm a member, I'm the children's secretary. We do various programs. When I was the women's secretary 3 years ago, you know, it's something I champion a lot. We're still doing it. And there's other organizations as well. I am aware of Jamatu. I'm aware of, you know, Aramand, the programs I have made to man, you know. A lot of organizations do it. What we need to do, which is where I think is to come together and have a big conference.
Is that going to be possible?
It is possible if the will is there, if the teamwork is there. Yeah.
Unlike now, it's very common now to see that most of the organization, they tend to be on their own.
Yes.
And this is a situation whereby one believes it will make it difficult for to make it difficult for them to move forward. It's like if there's any program whereby every organization will come up together, is it possible?
Absolutely. Alhaji, one of the things I've said over and over, Nigerians, we do not work as a team. We learn to compete. We work on individually. It is a fundamental national problem. United we stand, divided we fall. Organizations, whether it's Christians, Muslims, we need to work together, synergize together, so that we can share our resources, best practice, and utilize our resources in the sense that people can have the same voice and a consistent approach. So one thing that's why people see me at program, because it's the voice I want to carry through over and over. If
we have the Council of Nigerian Muslim Organizations, CNMO, we have that. We have Robertus for their fast.
It only takes the two of them to say, let's do this, and call the organization together. We can do it. You know, we have Araman, a big organization. We have MAN, we have Nasru Fati, we have Jam, we have the key organizations. All we need to do is join hands together, get somewhere big to have a conference. MAN had a conference 2 years ago, was it last year, on global terrorism in East London. Similar event on marriage or family lives. Form 1 is trying, but to get the women, you see, this part of the issue where let the women's secretary come together, all the women's secretary of our association come together and say, this issue is affecting us, our home. Let's form them together. But I've always said this, and it saddens me because it's only when it comes to parties, you will see more women. When it comes to conference, especially educational conference, it is so difficult, and that's part of our orientation.
Now, I know some Muslim organization here in the United Kingdom whereby they even have some women's society. Whereby these women, there are many. I mean, minimum of this society, you can have up to 20 members. Is there any way that one of these women organizations will be able to mobilize and bring all these women together so that any issue affecting women in general could be addressed?
I'll mention, and I've mentioned, if we have Araman, and I think we all know how big and powerful Araman is. Alhaja is my sister. Alhaja, if we have MAN, we have Nasfat, Jamatu in Camberwell, because I know those, and Sarula in Clapham, I know this. If you have all the women, we will champion it. It can be done, but part of the issue we have is orientation. Our people are not at that level or at that stage. To some point, we are still at a stage of social events, not educational events, and that's part of the challenge. But we do need to work together. We do need maybe SALAAM TV, and I'm grateful for SALAAM TV to give me this opportunity. because
if we can find a way to give
out the information of what we need to do, and I'm grateful that we're having a discussion, because this is part of it that it's going to go out to the wider audience and people can see and take it forward and reflect on it. If we can work together, reflect on us, what do we need, because it's our legacy for our children, that we need to spend more time on educational program, less on social events. I'm not advocating we shouldn't have our naming ceremony or wedding. I'm not advocating that. There is time for it, but as I always say the Nigerians have been in this country as far back as 1940s. I'm always saying that because Emeka Ojukwu came here and schooled and went to Oxford. So I go back to his time.
So we've been in this country for about 5 decades,
if not more. Now, why am I saying that? The Polish only came when I had my sheriff in 2004. 2004, yeah. That's less than 2 decades, but they are well established. And they work as a team, they've got business. Our only business is really about food and clothing. And we don't work as a team. The Polish, they work as a team. The East European, they work as a team. So the relevance of what I'm saying is we need to work as a team. The Polish, they've dominated so much Catholic churches in this country now, since coming. So we need to do that.
Thank you very much, Alhaja. It's been my pleasure speaking with you. We are going on a commercial break. Then when we come back, we will continue from where we started. We are going to look at the issue, especially that affect women in general, when we come back.
SALAAM Africa Television is a dedicated Muslim channel for the promotion of African Muslim and Islamic messages to the world. SALAAM Africa Television prides as the most prominent ethnic televised medium. We cover Muslim events, affairs, business, and lifestyle. Educative, informative, while furthering better participation and inclusive opportunities to promote the views and activities of African Muslims. We provide the young Muslim generations an alternative source of information of truth and pure Islamic knowledge from the Quran and the authentic Hadith sources. SALAAM Africa Television makes accessibility to our programs easy for everyone world over. This is why we have specifically chosen to stream our programs live online. With focus on capturing the millions of viewers from around the world, we broadcast live, 24/7 each day to a global audience in 136 countries. With viewers from a wide array of nationalities and cultures. SALAAM Africa Television's clear aim is to inform, educate, and entertain its viewers with innovative and cutting-edge Islamic programs. SALAAM Africa Television, perhaps, they may reflect.
Welcome back. Alhaja, thank you for giving us your time. Before the break, we were actually we promised to go further by looking at the issue globally, then what has been happening, because before we had the break, we look at the community, we look at the issue of marriages. There's another thing that that is common now regarding, was about 2 weeks ago. It was widely reported that the scale of mental issue, people committing suicide, became enormous. What are the causes?
Alhamdulillah. May Almighty Allah continue to grant us health, excellent health, to live a peaceful life. The issue of mental health has always been in our society, it's been in our community, but it has never been openly discussed. It has surfaced more in recent years because of a number of issues, and I think some of them are to do with the global issues, namely immigration, housing, unemployment, and marriage breakdown. Particularly among the youth, what you have is a lot of young people are not able to cope with the challenges faced. I am aware of a young lady that died in Brixton about 2 weeks ago. A young lady, I think she's in her first year of university, and she committed suicide
It was on social media. It was on Facebook, and I know more so in Bristol University. It was Bristol University. That's about the 4th suicide we've had for young people coming to suicide. Now, I think one of the issues we need to recognize is, why is it happening? We need to talk about it. We need to acknowledge it. Fundamentally, the challenges of living normal life without employment, without accommodation, is affecting people. People are not able to cope. Lack of money, lack of jobs, lack of a home. And the fact that the society is so fragmented, the family unit is breaking down, lack of social support that we've taken for granted over the years, is affecting people's health. And it has been taken for granted over the years that we have that family unit, that you have the extended family, but because people are now having to fend for themselves, and that family support is breaking down, it is having an enormous impact. So mental health is part of our well-being. It is part of our well-being. It saddens me that you hear of statistics of people in Mosley and Hackney Hospital, the Omotin Hospital. There was a reference made to Omotin Hospital that the proportion of young men in the psychiatric unit are black and African men. A high proportion of them are black and African men. Mostly hospital, it is recognized, I have not got the figures, that a high proportion of them, again, are a mission of black and minority people, both of the same gender, men, women. What's causing it? Marriage breakdown, family breakdown, unemployment, immigration, accommodation, the lack of money, everything you can, just barely existing in this country now requires a lot of things. We all know that you cannot come here without your papers, without your status being recognized. We all know you cannot have a bank account, you cannot drive, you cannot use the NHS, you cannot actually do anything unless you have your papers. And what you have is a lot of people who are in the system and they're languishing. So when I say system, for some reason they've come here in the last 3 years and they've not been able to recognize their papers. The choice of going back home, they find it difficult to do. And that is affecting the mental health, the well-being. And we need to recognize it. We really do need to recognize it. And talk about what can we do to minimize it.
That's really the solution to it. What could cause the solution?
The solution to it for me is, bear in mind that we used to have a community that support. We don't have that anymore. And when I say community that support, it's not just about going to a SALAAM or churches. We need to work together and less on social events and provide community support, counseling, network, where we can have people being recognized as needing support. Community group to support people, to visit people in hospital, to visit their homes, where there's a family breakdown, where there's a marriage breakdown or conflict. People can actually go and support, help us to advise, to counsel. These are real practical solutions that we can do. And of course, providing monetary support if need be. This is why I don't know whether it's our community. We need to work with the Nigerian Commission. We have them, the Education and Welfare Council of the Nigerian Commission is there. This is why I think community, we as an organization, when I say we, both the Christian and the have to work together and work with Nigerian community to look to the welfare of our community, because the issue of mental health is growing, both within the youth, the adults, gender-wise, it's affecting everybody. I honestly believe that is an area that has been lacking in the past. We do need to look and recognize now and talk about. It saddens me because people are going to university now. There is a fear that they're coming out with debts, because that's another issue, and they haven't got jobs. So because of that, people are struggling to cope. So we encourage our children to go to university. So they go to university, they come out with debts. Bear in mind, I remember when university used to be free in this country, then it went up to 1,500, then it went up to 3,500, and now it's 9,000. And that is for the fees. You have to support them. So a lot of children are not coping. A lot of families are not coping. So there's elements of that. So solution is working together, supporting each other, having experts to support the community, to provide some monetary help. You know, one of these we forget, the Methodists have hostels, young women hostels, funded by the mothers. Where is our Muslim organization building homes, funding homes for vulnerable groups, families that, you have the issue of the Syrian refugees recently, where they're looking for Muslim social workers. We don't have enough. These are areas that we can tap into, sponsor people to be a social worker, sponsor people to be able to foster, but we don't have the homes.
Like for instance, the Nigerian I Commission that you mentioned, that there is a particular department who could look into this. Is it not the high time for some of the Muslim organizations for them to come up to say that, because we do believe that some of those who are yet to regularize their stay here and will be thinking of to go to an embassy or perhaps go to any public place will be extremely difficult for them. Is there any way that maybe this organization could come up and say, okay, because they find it easy to go to a Salatu or go to any organization, why can't the organization become a liaison between the need and those who could alleviate their problem?
It's so unbelievable, because I'm a member of the Nigerian law enforcement, British law enforcement officer, APO. One of the things we do, you know, the organization is for people that work in the civil service. I work, as I said, for the Home Office. We have people from police, we have people from customs, and we work. Our objective as ABLE officers is to work with the Nigerian Commission organization to improve the image of Nigerians and to provide information. I will provide awareness on immigration. We try and work with Nigeria Commission, primarily with the education welfare. That's why I know about it. They have a lot to do. It's something they've not been able to do in the past. They've not done engagement in the past. We're trying to work with them. I can say that because I'm let you know that. But organization has to come on board as well. And community engagement is something that people have to understand. It's not about social events. It's not about parties. It's about economic and educational. Providing reliable information to people so that people can use. One of them is this changes in terms of immigration. What is happening? Letting people know. People have to regularize their papers. People have to wake up. Housing now is so difficult to get. So those are the things people need to understand, that there are things they have to do. You know, we have a lot to do. It's been a slow progress, but I will use this forum to let people know. Nigeria Commission is there. Organization is to work with them. We need to embrace them. I mean, we were fortunate. NASFAT paid a courtesy visit to the High Commission recently, about 2 weeks ago. I wasn't able to go because of work commitment. But that's part of why I've said to people, we cannot sit down. Organization must actually go on and find out what they can do for us, and then we work there. I've asked them to ask on community forum so that the High Commission can address the community, because I think they need to do that, not just consular services, but they need to engage with the community. So we organize an event and see how we can work together. It's a long way to go, but I think it's doable, and I think we can do it, because part of the issue is when we talk about mental health, there are people languishing in the care system, there are people languishing in prison. Nobody's talking about them. Those who do not know, the unknown factor is so much, but the mental health issue is coming more and more every day. There was a young woman, like I said, on Diala this week, a Nigerian woman
Just
reported talking, and yes, she's got a mental health issue. Who is looking after her? And she's got family. So we don't often talk about it because it's like a taboo subject, mental health, and nobody wants to know about it. but it can happen to any one of us. We always pray not to, because when you have excess, when you have too much pressure, and you cannot cope, you'll break down. It's a fact. And the fact that someone might say, "Oh, I fish any or fish any," you know, I don't want to dismiss it, but the simple logic is, when you have too much pressure on your brain, you will break down.
Let me take you back to the issue of the Syrian children that you mentioned now.
Yeah.
And you do mention that there is lack of
Foster parents
and accommodation, then the social workers.
Yeah.
Now, within the Muslim organization here, we have a lot of women. Is it not high time that these women could be trained to fit into this area? Because it's been common knowledge that people just wanted to do the same kind of work.
Yes. Yes. Okay. That's a new chapter. We've been trying to get our women to be more corporate professional. It saddens me that, yes, when we come in, we take the easy option. It's easy to be a care worker. It's even more, it's getting tighter now actually to be a care worker, because you have to be DBS check as well. The issue is this: we have to recognize the need to be more professional. And that's part of it. To be a social worker, now you need a degree. You know, you used to just get a diploma 2 years, now you need a degree. But there's nothing stopping us. Is having that commitment and the willingness to do it. A lot of our women, not just our women, men have to consider whether they want to change profession. One of the things I'm advocating is that having one profession is not going to be enough in years to come. That's part of what I'm going to be advocating to the youth. The reason being, in the global economy, you have to be versatile, be able to change. To say, if you're a doctor, fine, you can go and work in any country. Yeah? If you're an IT expert, you can go and work in any country. And this is what people have to be open to, because it is where the skills are going to be in years to come. And we want our women and men to be open up to say, yes, train up to be social worker, because you can use that skill. You can go and work in Europe, America, but it's that commitment I think is not there. That commitment to go and train, because it might involve you to having to pay your bursary for that, because I don't think there's any grant that will support you. And I think our people are not opening up to that or thinking about that. We should be. I'm advocating it to our young people to think about what they want to be in the future, and think about whether they can combine two things together. Retraining in the future. I am considering on retraining. I am considering on retraining because, in years to come, you have to be able to.
Can't you look at it from this aspect now, Alhaja, with your own background, and I can authoritatively say that you got a lot at hand. Are you considering of doing some kind of mentoring for the younger ones?
Ooh, yeah, I've always thought about that, and I'm open to that. Yes, I'll put myself forward to mentor, and I will mentor people. I've mentored people. I don't publicize it, but I do mentor people. And because I like to think that I've got some expertise I can impact on people. So I do mentor people. It's just I don't publicize it.
What are the range of the ages that you target?
It's more about between 18 to 25. Yeah, I do that. The youth.
Okay.
Yeah, I do older ones on a one-to-one, but mentoring is for people that you can impact.
You follow them, you impact it. You follow them while they're in school.
Yes, yeah.
Could be able to.
Yeah, because what I'm hoping to do is when they do their A levels to go to universities, so that by the time they start forming their own ideas and thinking of what to do, you can guide them to say, look, you need to be mindful of this, you need to do that. So that's why I say between 18 to 25, because when they go to uni, do their first degree, what else do they want to do? Masters, what skills, what areas? So I do between 18 to 25.
I want to come to the Form 1, the women organization.
Yeah, Federation of.
Is there any plan, or perhaps maybe something they are doing? Because I strongly believe that this could also assist again, because we look at the challenges that women are facing, especially women of ethnic minority.
Yeah.
For instance, regarding this kind of issue of training, mentoring, is there anything that the former had put in place now, perhaps they are planning to put in place, which I believe is essential? Yeah.
There's plans for that. We're having a strategic review in a couple of months, and the training is going to be a key factor. We have somebody that is a certified trainer that is looking into that, because we've recognized the need to have a succession planning so that our children can have somebody to guide them, train them, and this will be proper training as well. So we're looking into that. It's not concluded yet, but part of our strategic review is to see what we can do to impact on our youth, our women in general, and to, like I said, there are opportunities for us to train to be a social worker and other fields as well. But probably it's giving out the information to people so that they know the passion is different, the commitment is different. There's nothing we can do, because people have to recognize that themselves. But if we can give out the information and guide people, I think that will go a long way.
I received a mail recently. One of some of our viewers draw attention that now many youth, especially the children of ethnic minority, hardly that one can see the culture of Africa in them. Then as our generation, as we are growing older, it seems that these children, they are going in another direction. A young man told me recently that anytime he enters his house, when his wife and children, when they are speaking English, he just see as if he's in another place. All his effort to enable them to speak our own language
right,
became futile.
Right.
So what are the things that you think one could do in this aspect? Because I said your society has a lot of things in hand.
We were talking about earlier on about what is leading to conflict, and I mentioned cultural heritage. There's a lot of things that's happening that's been eroded slowly that we're not taking cognizance of it. And I have young children. My boys are 20, 17 and 12, and they were born in this country. There's one thing they know: we have Nigerian Yoruba heritage, and always impact on them. Why is this relevant these days? That we have to be proud of our culture to impact on our children. Some children, yes, will probably reject the culture, right? Some will reject it, no matter what we do. But that's why I mentioned about the mixed marriages. We are living in a global economy, and whether we like it or not, they mix within different culture and they expose that. What can we do to make sure that they embrace our culture? That is a big responsibility for us. That is a big responsibility, because it's not just wearing the clothes. On Suna and Self-Esteem yesterday, they were talking about our names. Just one aspect of our names. I'm not sure that you're aware, some of the ways we write or pronounce our names now, because people have become too westernized. They don't even want them to, some people do not want people to know they're Muslims or Yoruba. It's a fact, and that's part of it. That is part of it, because unless we ourselves appreciate our heritage, our culture, and try and live through that and impact on our children, some of our children will reject it. Because they live in a global economy, they go to school, and we have to remember that this is not a Muslim country. We're only about 3% or 5% of the population, and the growth of Muslim, yes, is only in the last 10 years, and they're fighting us, whether we like it or not. They don't like it. But what can we do about it? We have to live positively, to show the beauty of Islam, to show that we're a peaceful religion. And our children have to see that and practice the religion. All my children have got Muslim names, and I call them by their Muslim name, and they know that. So one of the things I was being suggested is, yesterday, we give our children Muslim names, but we don't call them that Muslim name. So are we surprised when they don't embrace religion? Are we surprised? Now, I have a lot to do as a parent. My children understand Yoruba, and they can speak it, but not fluently. I wish I could have done more of that. But they know the Yoruba, they know the locations, you know, and they know, you know, they're from Ologbowo in Lagos. You know, and Sheriff is so Sheriff is always pride, you know, of that, and that's that to Daddy. You know, that is a proud Lagosian. But I'm from Oyo, and I belong to the association in this country. So it's embracing my heritage, my culture, and impacting it, because that will be our legacy. If I want our children, some people don't wear the Nigerian clothes. You can't expect your children to wear. You live at home, they don't see trace of your heritage in your home. So we have a long way to go, and that's where the community engagement is so key, because it is not about having parties, and I keep going back to that. It's an educational program. We need to review our rotation. We need to review some of our activities that we do, and I call upon all the imams, no disrespect to them, calling upon them to reflect more on how we deliver our programs.
Now, I want us to look at this aspect, because I am a member of a political party in this country, and I've been a member for a long time. I'm still the chairman of my constituency.
Okay.
So now, some Nigerians, I don't know the reason why many are not interested in participating, especially the women as well. Why are they not participating? Is there anything that drawing them back? Or the former, do you think there's anything you could do to make people, especially the women, to come out?
It's lack of experience, knowledge, exposure, everything you can think of. I don't belong to any political party per se. I have been asked, well, I've asked to join a party, a Nigerian party, and I've got the email and details. I haven't sent it off because I consider that it's time. That was the reason why I have not submitted my application form. But I am interested in joining a political party in this country, which Nigerian political party in this country. Or just a matter of timing for me, because at the moment I'm so busy and I just left it aside. Now at the moment I don't have time. Again, it's about, you know, passion, understanding, and exposure. I would say not much of experience. There are some of our women that could be of relevance, that could do more. I think again, it's a stage where we are, whether we have that exposure yet. I have a lot of my friends that, you know, into political, you know, I won't say they belong to political party, but they have that awareness, you know. And I think it's just by default, a lot of people don't see the game. So, you know, it's always the same, you know, or no, nothing's going to change. So that apathy is there, that they don't see the game. You know, why should they join? So I haven't actually encouraged people on that level personally, because for me personally, it's a question of time, whether I have the time to do compliance to everything I do. But it's something that maybe we need to start thinking about, I would say.
Now, you yourself, are you seeing yourself in contesting for any political party here in this country? You are still going for that?
No. No. It's maybe in years to come, but for now, no.
What about if the opportunity arises in Nigeria from your constituency? Or is it your state assembly?
Okay, that would be. To be honest with you, on a serious note, yes,
she left from here.
Yes. It will be. I mean, either in the UK or in Nigeria, it will be an honor to serve a country. I'm always, you know, it's something that, you know, at this stage of my life, do I have the time? Do I have the way? Do I have the passion, determination? Maybe.
So which one do you?
It's something I
think you don't have at the moment.
At the moment, it's time.
It's time. Okay, what about if we give you the time?
I don't have the time at the moment. You know, I don't. You know, seriously, it's the time, because I'm still working full time, and I still have my children going to school, you know, in education. So that fundamentally, because my baby is doing just year 7, so more time for me. That's really the issue. But I suspect on the next, if I have the opportunity, I'll consider it.
Now, with this enormous experience, I believe that some people do have plans whereby, okay, I've got a lot of experience in this country. I don't want to mention name. I know some of Nigerians who have been in this country, who are back home now, presently in this present political dispensation. They are in various section. There are those who got ministerial appointment. There are those who contested an election. Are you planning for any public office in Nigeria?
I'm not actively planning, to be honest with you. If the opportunity arises, I'll consider it. I'm not actively planning, and I don't belong to any political party in Nigeria. But like I said, I have been to political. In the last election, I was a member of a movement that supported the current government. So I was, so I can declare that I was part of the movement that supported the current government. And I have thought about actually formally joining, but I have not actually submitted my application. I've got it because of timing. But if the opportunity arises, I will consider it, because if you can impact and give you experience, why not? For me, it's about timing, and I'm hoping that the time will come, maybe I will be able to do it.
Okay. Going back to memory lane, the number of years from when you were having this country till when you had your education, till when you are working, family, home, at the moment, can you say you are satisfied? Have you fulfilled your ambition?
That's a big one. I have my ambition really. There was 2 primary ambitions I had when I was much younger: to be a lawyer, and I couldn't do that because of financial constraints. Alhamdulillah, I'm a magistrate. The other ambitions I had in life was to be a diplomat, to work for United Nations. I always wanted that, because I believe, a lot of things can be resolved diplomatically. We have a lot of conflict. I've always wanted to work. That's why I'm a public servant. I've always believed in public service. So that is relevant to politics as well. Am I satisfied? Not yet. So there is still no, if I'm being honest, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look back, is there any regret that, oh wow, wish this is what I could have done, this is what I've not done? Is there any regret?
No. I have no regret whatsoever. If there's any more, if there's anything, if I look back, is I wish I'd been more open to do all the things earlier on. Honestly, I have no regret whatsoever, because I've served in the UK civil service for almost 30 years. I'm looking forward to celebrate that in August. It was 30 years I've worked in the UK civil service. So I have no regret whatsoever, because I've been privileged to serve, and I've got the experience and the information. So I've been privileged to do that. So I have no regrets, but I would like to use the opportunity that I have and the experience I have on the wider scale. So inshallah, maybe years to come, that will be the next step. So I have no regret whatsoever.
Thank you very much, Alhaja Bilkisu. Savage. It's been my pleasure being with you for almost an hour now, and thank you for honoring our invitation to be part of our weekly magazine program, that is the Guest Podium. We thank you for giving us your time. This is where we are going to end this program this week. On behalf of all my colleagues here, we sincerely appreciate your time, always being with us, and always don't change your time, always be on SALAAM TV.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam. Allah guide us and protect us. May Allah make Salam TV to prosper and grow. And I hope God will, you know, elevate you to be like Islam channel and Peace channel, that you can, you know, inshallah, we could lie to be able to impact globally, because I think, you know, we need to appreciate that. We need to recognize that. Inshallah, God will guide you all the way. Assalamu alaikum.